Hello, and welcome to the Pleasantville Garden Club show, Outside in Your Garden. I'm Gigi, and I'm here with Michael. And Michael, where are we today?
Today, Gigi, we're at a longtime Garden Club supporter's house, Jim Gurski, and he has a wonderful shade garden, Gigi, which we're going to be looking at today. And it's really unusual in that almost everything is in shade, including this magnificent climbing hydrangea that Jim tells us has been here for about 20 years, and it's in bloom today. Doesn't it look lovely, Gigi?
It's amazing, and we're outside the gate that's going to lead us into this garden. So let's go meet Jim. And here I am with Jim, and we're standing on the other side of those climbing hydrangeas through the gate. And you can see, even though this is a shade garden, tell me, Jim, some of the things that are here.
This is the sunniest part of my garden. We have the peonies and phlox growing in this area. Many of these plants I have gotten from the Pleasantville Garden Club over the years. This is one of the tree peonies that I've had for many, many years. The hostas do very well in this garden. I've also tried to do perennials or annuals put in like coleus and impatiens, and I'll see how they do this year.
And so if you could look at the urn that is standing on that over there, it has oxalis growing on it, and that's how I first met Jim. He gave me some oxalis, and I have since shared it with the world. And let's move on and see the rest of your garden, okay?
Very good. And this is a great way to recycle items in your house. This pond was originally the downstairs bathtub, and when we redid the bathtub, the bathroom, I just buried the tub and turned it into a pool.
So now we are in the back of Jim's yard, and I know that he plans through the seasons, right?
Correct. This is a very good example of it. This bed here begins in early February with the winter aconite, which is a small yellow flower, and then it changes over into tulips and daffodils and spring snowflakes, which as those die down, the leopardbane bloom, followed by the hydrangeas, and through all this bed are perennial begonias that are coming through now that have a very wonderful, very pretty leaf with a red underside, and they will fill this whole bed with plants that are probably about 24 inches high, followed by very pretty pink blooms at the end of August, beginning of September, when everything else in the garden is starting to die down.
This is another thing that Jim shared with me, is some of his wild begonias, which I couldn't believe how big they are and how beautiful they are. So let's let Michael finish on this tour.
Okay, thank you, Gigi. So Jim, you brought us to your little kitchen patio garden where you sit out, obviously, and you got some absolutely delightful plants here in the shade underneath this magnificent bamboo. So tell us what you've got here.
Yes, I have here a European ginger, which has a nice shiny leaf. I have the American ginger, which has a duller leaf. There's a bloodroot, which is one of the native wildflowers that blooms very early in the spring, as well as various hostas.
And you got lovely Japanese painted fern in the front here?
Yes.
And then over here, you've got some magnificent begonias, don't you?
Yes. The begonias, I keep them for many years, and I just plant them in soil at the end of the year and keep them over the winter in soil. And then in the spring,
so you keep them in your basement?
Correct.
Over winter?
Yes, I move them into the basement.
When do you bring them in?
Usually by perhaps October.
Okay, before they get a bad frost.
Correct.
Yeah. And then do you water them and over the winter?
No, I just let them go totally dormant.
Yeah. And then by about March, April you're...
Correct. Usually in March, I replant them. Before they start showing any growth, I put them into smaller pots, and then I let them start to grow, then I move them into larger pots as they grow.
And do you do any cuttings from them? Because I know that you
I
can propagate
haven't.
begonias that way as well.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I've never done that.
Well, something for us to try. And then you've got another oxalis in pot here with your spider plant,
Correct.
which Gigi was raving about earlier.
These plants are wintered in the house. Some of them go up 2 flights up to the attic, and the other ones are carried down into the basement. It's
Great.
my fall workout.
Okay, and to conclude the show, we're going to go and look at one of your last parts of your garden over that way.
Okay.
Great. So Jim, we're in the last part of your garden, perhaps a bit of grass over here, a little bit of grass. And
a
we-
little bit of lawn.
little bit of lawn, and your lovely gazebo here with this climbing rose. Tell us
Yes.
about that.
This is a gazebo that's covered in a white rambling rose. It has fragrant, multi-flowered blooms. In probably about another 2 weeks, there's also a clematis, a jacamani growing up through it, so I get a wonderful combination.
That Jackmani is beautiful purple, and then
Oh, it
you've got
is.
the white rose. It must be fabulous.
Yes.
Over here you have another rose.
Yes, this rose is a lavender lass. It's a hybrid musk, and it has fragrant purple pink flowers. It's one of the few roses that actually bloom well in shade.
And then I love the way that you've got the hydrangea climbing up your house here.
And the robins love to nest in the climbing hydrangea. We usually end up with the pair building 3 nests in the corner, at the edge, and at the other corner. This is a star jasmine. It blooms it has fragrant white flowers. In the wintertime, it comes into the kitchen and becomes sort of the kitchen Christmas tree. We hang ornaments off of it.
And then in addition to your perennial begonias that you showed Gigi, you've got these begonias that you have to take a little more care of, don't you? They're
Correct.
not quite as hardy as the other ones.
Yes.
So tell us about these begonias in this pot.
These are the ones that I've wintered over the last several years. And once again, I take them into the basement and let them go dormant, and then pot them in the spring and start them off in smaller pots, move them to larger pots as they grow.
And behind the begonia, you've got a lovely coleus too, which
Correct.
you probably treat the same way.
Yes.
Yes.
And this coleus I've kept for many years, and I take clippings in August and root them. And out of probably 20 clippings, I usually end up with, on a good year, this year was a good year, I ended up with probably about 15 plants.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for coming with us on this tour of Jim's garden. Thank you, Jim.
Yes.
It was absolutely a fabulous experience, and we
you.
appreciated it.
And thank you for the opportunity.
Great.